We're confident that the more the people learn about the Gateway and Enbridge, the more they will see that we can build and operate this important energy infrastructure to diversify Canada's energy market in a safe, reliable, and sustainable way.
It's a place of untouched beauty, the only place in the world where you'll find the majestic spirit bear. This ecosystem, known as the Great Bear Rainforest, is under threat.
It's just a huge gamble for very little return.
The gamble is a $5.5 billion oil pipeline called Northern Gateway to be built by Alberta-based Enbridge. It would pipe 500,000 barrels of bitumen from the oil sands to Kitimat, where it would be loaded onto supertankers bound for Asia.
The tankers will range in size from the Aframax category, a minimum 220 meters in length, to the VLCC, up to 350 meters.
Well, it's all doable. I mean, it not only happens here, but it happens in Norway.
Authorities in Norway are struggling to contain an oil spill after an Icelandic cargo ship ran aground in the country's only marine reserve.
It happens in Alaska.
It sits stranded like a giant wounded animal. By this afternoon, the Exxon Valdez had leaked 265,000 barrels of oil into the waters of Prince William Sound.
It happens all around the world.
Oil has begun washing up on a popular beach in New Zealand's Bay of Plenty. A container ship carrying 1,700 tons of oil and toxic material grounders.
Right now, stories about opposition to Northern Gateway and Enbridge are in the media every day. And I'm going to tell you, they are uncomfortable and they're sometimes frustrating.
Hundreds of thousands of gallons of oil leaked from a ruptured oil pipeline into the Kalamazoo River.
This is a crisis that should have been prevented. It was created because of negligence by Enbridge.
Originally, Enbridge told us that 819,000 gallons of oil spilled into the Kalamazoo River. Today, the EPA said 1.1 million gallons has been cleaned up, and there's still more out there.
Enbridge's ability to deliver on a promise is being rigorously and publicly tested as we speak.
We know that that company has had a number of spills in recent years. Earlier this year in North Dakota, there was an Enbridge leak of some 126,000 gallons. There were 2 major spills in Wisconsin in 2007. A dozen leaks in Michigan alone.
Another mess on a few fronts here for Enbridge.
It's happened again. This time it's in Illinois.
Another mess for Enbridge. Hard to believe we're talking about this so soon.
To weigh the pros and cons about the project and to better assess Enbridge's approach to doing business, creating shared value in the community and being a good neighbor.
Enbridge has until August 31st to clean up the rest of the oil. The EPA is confident the company will make that deadline.
You may remember EPA gave Enbridge an end of the summer deadline to get all of the oil cleaned up. Not only did Enbridge miss that deadline, we just found out today the EPA has found new pockets of oil that was kind of hiding along the river, if you will, 200 acres worth.
I mean, we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of acres. They put this canvas over the top of it, and then they planted grass seed underneath it, and this grass grows up.
150 full-length football fields of oil they didn't know was here.
It's all oil mixed with mud. In the middle of the winter, I brought the press out here, and I fell right through.
The key, of course, is that the discussion needs to be based on facts.
It's October 9th. I just showed you the coordinates. We're at Talmadge Creek, and I'm gonna just show you that they put sand over the top of the oil. Can you see how clear it is? You can see right down to the bottom, looks really clear. I'm gonna take some sand. I'm gonna show you real close up. This is sand, all right? See there's no sheen? The reason why that's important is because when I dig down, the oil is underneath the sand. See it coming up? It's under the sand. It's not in the sand, it's under the sand that they put there. In massive amounts. That's disgusting.
Over the course of this year and possibly into 2013, the Joint Review Panel will hear hundreds of hours of oral submissions from interveners and stakeholders as they seek to answer two fundamental questions. Will the project cause significant adverse effects on the environment?
What was some of your symptoms that you had after the oil spill?
I had 3 seizures at the other house and 2 seizures where I live now.
And then my son actually had an episode where he looked like he was having seizures, passing out. I even took him to the ER.
I got migraines. I had a seizure for the first time in my life.
And is the project in Canada's public interest?
Gotcha. Grab a bag of cheese.
This is why we have to stop Enbridge and these oil companies from doing this. They're having seizures and they're getting sick from this tar sand oil. Please help us.
And I invite you to join the conversation, which you can find at www.northerngateway.ca. Listen to the arguments for and against our pipeline project and judge for yourself whether Canada is ready and able to take on this important next step to join the global energy market. Thank you very much.
I am a Navy veteran with a Bronze Star, a union member, and I worked on the Trans-Canada pipeline the first time. Everything was fine, I thought. A oil spill happened in Michigan, a tar sand, and after I was the yard boss for a Canadian company. The largest yard there was, I was in charge of it. I was a foreman for the Trans-Canada pipeline. I'm not just a normal cleanup worker. We were told to bury oil. We were told to put grass over oil. We were told there is not oil left in the river. When now they're saying, after my videos, there's 120 areas that are full of it. I have proved over and over again that they have lied. I have made them clean up 12 to 15 sites that they said was clean already. I have cost them millions and millions. Well, now I have about 200 sick people, not counting the people that already moved away, And they came to a meeting because I went to 1,400 homes like Aaron Brockovich, door to door. People are having seizures. Babies are being deformed, born deformed. They're cancer. People are dying. I mean, we've had like 10 deaths from this already. And guess what? There was a mandatory 1,000-foot evacuation that this Canadian company that I'm talking about did not tell the residents about. Never evacuated them. Never told them that they should evacuate. I'm telling you, they're going to tell you to cover up oil someday if you work in this situation. And you have a choice. 2,500 people was in my position. I'm the only one that came forward. I've lost my $2,300 a week job and my future. I have a whistleblower lawsuit for one reason, and that is to make them testify under oath that what they did is illegal and wrong to cover up oil. I am here only to protect my community and to stop Texas from getting hurt, because there will be a spill someday, and they will lie to you, and they will threaten you. I've had 2 death threats, 4 slashed tires, my brakes have been cut twice, I have a scar on my head from an assault, and I have a supervisor that assaulted me that says he has more money than I can sue for. It's gonna happen. Your lives will be threatened if you speak up, because these guys have power.
Our I-team takes on accusations of an Enbridge cover-up. Last July, a pipeline owned by Enbridge ruptured in Marshall, sending hundreds of thousands of gallons of oil into West Michigan's waterways. Now a former Enbridge employee is blowing the whistle on the company, accusing it of covering up oil. Tonight he takes us to some of those areas he claims are still soaking in the mess. News Channel 3's Aaron Baskerville takes the whistleblower's concerns to Enbridge, and he's live now in the studio with this cleanup controversy. Aaron.
Judy, Enbridge is firmly standing behind its policies, saying it's following the right procedures set forth by the EPA when it comes to cleanup. The company says some oil will be left behind right now because removing it could cause more damage. But one former worker is doing everything possible to get his story out there.
The creek's right over here.
A former worker blowing the whistle on Enbridge takes News Channel 3 on a tour of sites he claims still have oil, but the company is not coming back to clean up. John Bolenbaugh still finds ice packed with oil and is making strong accusations against the company.
They were trying to meet deadlines. So what they would tell us to do is take dirt, put it over the top of the oil. They were telling us to take mud with oil and throw it into the woods. They were telling us to rake dirt over the top of oil.
And he says because he wouldn't do those things, he was fired in October after 2 months on cleanup operations. But Bolenbaugh believes the so-called smoking gun is near Talmadge Creek in Ground Zero in Marshall.
Because I just wanted to prove that this is all oil. It is all oil. This is not mud. Mud will freeze. They put this canvas over the top of it. This is just plain old canvas. They put grass seed underneath it, and what's supposed to happen is the grass will grow through.
He's accusing Enbridge of using a coconut matting to cover up obvious oil, with the company having no thoughts of ever cleaning these areas up. The project director was scheduled to go out to the site with us, but said a significant issue came up. So we showed him our video.
No, that is not oil. That's sediment. Now, whether or not that sediment is contaminated, I can't tell from the video, but the individual does not need even oil. Yeah. It's obvious that this was taken in a wetland area where the sediment is saturated with water. It's mud. That's what he's standing in, is mud.
November 2nd, 2011. I just videotaped an area where Enbridge has covered up oil. I got proof that they dug it out. Got proof it's there now, 100% proof. Everything I've been doing is for this reason. I knew they were going to arrest me sooner or later. I'm doing the right thing. I don't feel guilty about it a bit. I don't feel bad about it. I am helping my community. I'm doing what the EPA will not do. I'm doing what our government will not do. And I've already been threatened with arrest by Enbridge, and I asked for an attorney, didn't answer any questions, and he's going to get a warrant for my arrest. So I need you to all support me. I need you to come to the court hearing and back me up if you feel what I'm doing is right. I know I'm right, and I know you know I'm right. And I need your support. This is the time. This is when you got to step up. You gotta actually do something about helping our community. You can't just sit back anymore.
So please come.
Digging Talmadge Creek back out. It's November 2nd. Just showing you video. Look how deep they're digging. This was all, they buried oil here. Look at these guys right here. These are the guys that buried oil. You're gonna be on national news. They covered this entire area up.
Sir, you're trespassing at this time. I would ask you to leave. Would you care to leave?
Do you own Talmadge Creek?
Would you care to leave?
Will you answer the question?
Trespassing on a construction site without the proper PPE.
Oh,
Would you
okay.
Please leave the site.
I'm going to get my PPE on since you said that's
Thank
all
you.
I need.
Thank
since
you.
I am qualified. I will be right back with my PPE. And then what are you going to say? You said go get my PPE on.
I said, sir, that you're trespassing at this time.
I am not
Would you please
trespassing.
leave
You
the site?
you do not own Talmadge Creek. I pay taxes here. You live in another state. You don't even live in this state. Can I answer any questions for you?
Yes, sir. Do you know that you are trespassing on this property here?
You do not own Talmadge Creek.
No,
I
sir.
pay taxes. You do
Yes,
not
sir.
own it.
But you crossed this property right here in Enbridge.
No, I didn't.
Property.
I walked right through the creek.
From all the way down there?
Yep, all the way down.
So now you're on private property right
No,
here?
I'm not.
this end
Talmadge
property.
Creek is right here.
So
I am not on private property. I'm on Talmadge Creek.
Were you on property there the other day?
Sir, I have permission from that property
No, sir.
owner.
Enbridge owns that property right there.
No, they do not.
Yes, sir, they do.
No, they do not.
Yes, sir, they do.
What do you have to say about the 5 trucks that blocked me into private property?
I asked that you not record me.
No.
You're trespassing.
State of Michigan, I can record, and you can't do nothing about it. You guys got caught, and you know it.
It's John Bolenbaugh. This is Commissioner Todd, County Commissioner in Marshall, Michigan, where the spill happened. I have a serious question for you. Have I made a difference, do you think, in the cleanup efforts of the EPA and Enbridge?
Absolutely. One of the things that I mentioned during our meeting is that you being very necessary in order for things to really progress and get to where we need them to get. Sometimes it takes an individual like yourself. That's exactly what Dr. King was, and that's exactly what Malcolm X were. That's exactly what Al Sharpton is now. I mean, those are people who were bold enough and confident enough that they were doing the right thing to make the difference in the lives of people. Because ultimately, it points back to people, John. I'm the type of guy who don't like a lot of smoke screens. Just get to the truth, and so I commend you. I appreciate you showing me that. But just stay with the fight, man. You gotta stay in there because it's something you believe in, and it's the right thing to do. You know, sometimes doing the right thing is not the most popular thing, but it's the right thing to do. Stick with what's right.
Thank you. Yeah, you're right. I know
Absolutely.
that.
So even though our oils are toxic, they're not as nearly as toxic as the stuff that you apparently encountered over there. So, but the oil and gas industry, the dishonesty that these people possess, and the things that they do that are detrimental to communities is almost beyond belief. And they have no compassion whatsoever. They have no honesty. They have no pride, and they're worried about the bottom line. The bottom line is the bottom line.
How long have you been a doctor?
Since 1971, make it 40 years.
Okay. And when I tell you about all the people that had seizures and got sick in my community, is that from the oil? Because the EPA and Enbridge said that it's not, that everybody's okay and there's no long-term effects and don't worry about it.
You just heard my testimony about my patients, and I'm convinced that their problems are from the oil. And I had 2 people over here that you saw and heard that both had severe seizure problems, and you saw one of my patients actually having seizures that I'd filmed.